We are officially live. What up, ODame? How you doing?
Yo, good. What's up, dude?
Good. What up? What up? So appreciate you coming on here today. I'm excited to chat with you. And I know one thing we were talking about earlier, I wanted to touch on right away is how you mentioned that you were excited to have a chance to talk about your music. So just starting out, you've pretty much put the music out there. You said you've gotten a chance to hear some feedback, things like that, but you haven't really had a chance to sit down and unpack it all. So just
Yeah,
wondering what that's like for you, and why that's exciting for you to be able to kind of share your message and your story.
yeah. So it's definitely really cool for me because I think I told you before, I originally made these songs for myself to listen to. So like when I first started out, I only started like probably 2 years ago, besides sitting in on some studio sessions, but I started making my own songs like just 2 years ago. And when I started, I was just like, kind of feeling my way through, um, and like basically, figuring out how to actually make a song. Cause like you can make something that fits, but does it sound good is like basically what I was trying to get to.
Mhm.
So I started out, simple, just writing out, some lines to some beats on YouTube. And then later on, as I was able to experiment with like actual studio software, Pro Tools and stuff, having a microphone and being able to cut in and do other vocal layers and stuff, it just like slowly I was picking up skills to where finally like these songs weren't just like cool things that I was doing for myself, like to see what I could do, but they were starting to turn into actual songs and actual stories that, I mean, they originally came from a very personal place because it's is really just talking to me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So being able to talk about what's come out of that now is really fucking cool, because it came from such a personal space to where now it's like it's out in the open now, and it needs more context. So to be able to talk and give more context to what I'm doing and what I have done, it's really exciting.
Cool, cool. Yeah, so just kind of like relieving and liberating in some ways to, take that deep breath and say, all right, I'm being me. I'm putting my true self out there, and just
Yeah,
kind of freeing yourself to the world. That's cool. So
yeah,
yeah, like I said, we were talking earlier a little bit too. It's like, I've been excited to have this conversation because ever since I heard your first stuff, and then especially the most recent album, I'm like, dude, like this is like one of my new favorite artists, not just locally, but in general. And
respectfully, thanks, bro.
yeah, man, and it's been only a short time, and so it's kind of stands out to me even more. It's like, you're just getting started with this, and already it's such a high quality of lyrics, just the song structure, and then just your delivery overall. The way that you go about it is really unique. So yeah, I appreciate you putting yourself out there, and I'm looking forward to what continues. So what I want to start with off of that is, the one of the main things that stands out to me with your music. One of my favorite things about you as an artist is your originality, and that's something we talked about before, where you actually mentioned something interesting. You said that you don't listen to a lot of music within kind of your lane or your same genre. So I just want you to kind of expand, elaborate on that a little bit, and discuss, why you choose to do that, and what it does for your music.
Yeah. So the reason, I first started to experiment with music, yeah, because it was fun, but also it was like the artists that I was listening to at the time just weren't doing it for me. Like I wanted to hear this. Like I just noticed, like I wanted to hear this, or I want to hear them do that, or this to be changed. So then I started like looking at music differently. And as soon as I started really analyzing songs like that and thinking about what I would do, then when I actually started doing what I wanted to do on music, I didn't want to have any of that influence accidentally be regurgitated. So like I didn't want to subconsciously think of some song that I heard, yesterday and then put it into a track that I'm doing right now. Like I just it's really it's kind of like it's bittersweet because like I can't really listen to music the same, especially if I think that I could make something like that. I just can't listen to it because what if I did like what if a song that I was working on did end up becoming something, similar to this song? I don't want to just, your mind is going to just inevitably kind of like come back to what it already knows. So
Right.
I just want to try to eliminate all those variables and really, like you said, just try to be unique. Like I'm nowhere near like a fantastic rapper. I'm nowhere near a good singer, but it's just kind of like I do what needs to be done. And really to overcome those drawbacks, I guess the easiest thing to do is so simple, is just really be yourself. Like that's it. Don't try to be sounding like this or that, whether voluntary or involuntary. But the easiest and most simplest solution is just straight up be yourself. I mean, what else can you do? What if you're just being yourself is naturally going to come out in the music.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the root of, like you said, the originality that I'm trying to do. And yeah, just not stick to a genre. I like to do, obviously, if you've listened to the songs, I like to do all genres.
Right.
I grew up listening to all different kinds of music. So it's not like I'm not influenced by other musicians. It's just I don't want it fresh on my mind. Like I want my own thoughts fresh on my mind when I'm
Right.
trying to do this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. It's kind of cool to see like obviously everybody has some influence one way or another, from different angles on what they're creating, but it's cool to see what you come up with when it's, purely just your thought and just translating that to the microphone or to the instruments or whatever, and naturally what comes about. But yeah, that's definitely something that
Yeah.
you can pick up on in your music and your style. It's pretty evident that
Yeah.
you're kind of just being free with it and flowing from one thing to the next, the way that you go in and out of rapping and then into a melody or into even just talking kind of like more conversationally. It's just got like a very free kind of flow, really fluid style
Yeah.
that I like a lot. And I think people will gravitate to that a lot over time just because it's very relatable and authentic, and people pick up on that and
Yeah.
vibe with it pretty easily. So
Hell yeah.
um anyways, yeah, so getting into the album, first off, I'll talk a little bit about some of the parts that I liked and things, but right out of the gate, I wanted to open it up to you just to kind of share with people, what it's about, and kind of talk about, how it picks up off of the, previous EP that you had back in the
Yeah.
fall.
Yeah. So it starts with reps, a short story. So I'm 26, I didn't just come into this like I'm not out here trying to make party songs and do all that shit. Like I'm past that. So like immediately I knew I wanted to drop a full tape. If I'm gonna put myself out there, I'm not gonna leave it to just one song. Like if somebody heard Kool-Aid Man, bro, I don't know what the fuck they think of me. Like if they just heard Kool-Aid Man and then saw my face, I don't know what they think.
Mhm.
So I wanted to eliminate that even being a possibility. So I dropped reps, the full, it's just a 7 songs, 20 minutes, but really it allowed me like a topic like reps, which is, repetitions like being at the gym and like training. So using those repetitions to represent myself and then how that feeds into my reputation for the future.
Mm.
So that's why like Reps, a short story, is a very thoughtful, like it's a nice tape. You know, it's really telling a story, and I put a lot of thought into it because originally it was just for me to listen to. But um yeah, after that, I realized like, okay, like Reps was, you know, it was a good tape. A great foundation to start off on, but I wanted some bangers. I wanted I wanted some vibes captured in a song that people can really like play for their friends. I tell people like Reps is like your drive your drive alone like to or from work or something. Give you something to think about, almost like listening to a podcast. It's kind of like that kind of vibe. But then Reps 2 is like, okay, bump this shit with your friends and like let's have a good time. So yeah, especially like you know, songs like Kool-Aid Man and Rick Roll, where I'm just pretty much fucking around.
Right.
Like they're I'm able to do that free of mind because of the solid foundation of being a real dude from Reps. Like after you listen to Reps 2 is like, okay, like he's doing it, like he showed his colors, but now we can see what he can really do musically, and it's just fun. It's just like a good fucking time.
Right. Yeah, just letting loose. Definitely you hear a lot of that. You know, there is like a different energy level and kind of a looseness with it. Um
Yeah,
and yeah, like I said, I mean I was vibing to it, listening to it straight through, and I like the change of pace between the songs. And you know, like we talked about, you got some singing, some rapping, but overall there's just like a really like high energy to it that kind of just makes you feel good. So
yeah, it's cool too because like just, you know, having it be based around reps, which is like the idea is you're literally watching me do my reps. You're watching me do my workout. Like
right.
these songs, obviously, I'm not the best, but they're me trying to become, you know, a great musician or producer, or whatever I'm trying to be. So like it's such a broad topic that I'm able to do a song like Steak and Potatoes and just basically talk on a beat. And then the next song I have November, where I'm singing in a voice that I can't even do right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
gotta be in the zone to do a song like that. So, but you know, they flow like consistently, and they just somehow it makes sense. Like
Right.
through these different genres and these different types of songs, somehow it makes sense. It's coming from ODame. That's just what he does and shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it for sure. And actually, that makes me think. It's like I want to actually pull up a snippet of November, because I think that was probably my favorite single, favorite track off of the album. Like you said, the space that you're in, kind of that zone that you're in. It's something dope. So yeah, I'm gonna pull it up and give the listeners a little snippet here.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
I'm way too heavy to hold. Lay me to rest in the cold. Okay.
Yeah, it's like something I was trying to do more on this tape too, was let the music do the talking.
Yeah.
So that's the original guitar from the beat. And I just said, fuck it, leave it. Because that's
Right.
it.
Right. Just that, yeah, like just letting it breathe and kind of just taking a minute to sit back. But yeah, I love, like, honestly, I listened to that track the most out of everything. I was just like looping it and stuff. I love the melody on it. I
Yeah.
love that's the thing, the feeling that creates, whatever you're doing with that flow there. Like it's just got such a kind of spaciness, like a freeness, like you're cruising down the
Yeah.
highway, just vibing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, bro. So yeah, overall, like I said, well done on the album, top to bottom. It's a
Yeah.
great
Thank you.
listen through. A lot of different energy, a lot of different lyricism and shit that you're hitting on, and just kind of firing on all cylinders. And like I said, especially for starting out, it's really impressive. Um,
Yeah.
so one other thing I want to get into, outside of just your albums and everything and your music so far, is looking at your artistry, who you are as an artist, your branding. So your name, I'm curious where that name came from. The name ODame. What's is there something behind that?
Yeah, so it can be a long story, but I'll get short. So like basically it's my middle name is Damien. So when I was born, it was one of those things where it's like, my dad wanted to call me Damien, but my mom named me Sebastian. So, you know, uh Damien's now my middle name. But it was like that thought process of like, what if that was my first name? Like, would life be different? I
Mm,
don't really know. So it's kind of the name derives from me kind of, because I'm just a normal dude. I install security cameras for a living, bro. That's my job. So like
right.
me doing music was so like unthinkable. And for a lot of people, it really is. Even though I'm just some dude, like everybody can do this shit if they really want to. Um, but it's kind of like ODame is me living in this parallel universe, like this alternate universe where instead of just some guy, like I'm this dude who makes dope songs.
Hmm.
So specifically like the O apostrophe Dame is like when you say it's 9 o'clock, right? The time, you're basically saying it's 9 of the clock. So it's possessive. So, oh Dame, when you hear Reps, a short story, oh Dame, like the full name is actually Reps, a short story of Dame. So Reps 2 is Headspace of Dame. So like everything that I do end up making musically right there in the name, it's of me. Like that's how real this shit is. This is of me, like like spiritually and like existentially, it's of me. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So it's
right.
pretty fucking cool to have that name and have that kind of meaning behind it. But also it's just like you say, oh damn, you're like, oh damn. Like you hear this music, like, oh damn, you know what I mean?
Right, right, right. Yeah, that's how I remember like you were talking about before, like Byron, on the mic, it's like you hear that and it just hypes you up like, oh dang, like
Bro, he says that shit. I'm ready to go right now. Like,
right,
let's go. Give me the mic.
right. Shout out Byron, the ultimate hype man. Um,
Mhm.
so transition there, speaking of Byron and being on the mic and everything, live in person. So you got a show coming up this weekend. I just want you to kind of talk a little bit about going from your first show last summer. That was when you're, just starting out, just kind of um, opening it up to the world and kind of getting that first stab at live performance. So just kind of talk about what that's been like, that journey of getting out there, and then kind of how you're feeling now about doing more live shows going forward.
Yeah. So, um, that first show, I didn't even have any songs made yet. Like they're still on the drawing board. Like I only worked on them over at Deb's studio. So I hadn't got anything mixed or anything. They were just part of the vault of songs that I had. Um, so going into this next show, really it was before I even knew about this next show. I started working on Reps too because that first show and Reps, like I said, they Reps, the first tape is very smooth, like just it's really laid back and chill. So there's nothing really after having that experience of doing a show, there was nothing to like get people hyped besides October, which is
Mhm.
dope. Um, so there's nothing really to like get people hype or stuff like that. So that's when I just started work on Reps too, because I wanted to have some songs that people can really like get their energy up and have some fun with. And then it just naturally got me ready to have this whole arsenal of songs now that I can perform live that I know people are gonna have fun with. So like, you hear Call Me Later or Rick, all the songs, really, even November, they have like a longer outro, like a more like a just a basically a jam out session
Right.
to where you can leave that track on and just really like, yeah, like you caught the vibe in the first half of the song and now you're riding it out at the end. Because there's a fine line between like catching a vibe and riding it and really like beating a dead horse, bro. So I like try to walk that really fine line.
Right.
Um, yeah, and just to have some of those jam outs to where if people really do fuck with the song, they can continue to fuck with it for a little bit longer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely, and that's the thing with live shows. It's definitely all about like creating the energy, getting people moving and shit like that. The one thing, it reminded me when you talk about "Call Me Later," you talked about this outro at the end of it where you kind of just let it go, you know. And so
Yeah.
I want to play a little sample of that because before when we were chatting, you said you just let it go because you just fucking liked it, and I
Cause
dug
I
that.
just fucking liked it.
Right.
Yeah. There's
Right. Like
nothing about it, bro. It's
right.
just
Like
I can't get
that's
you off my mind. Huh.
right. Like that's so huge because there's so many people that will try to, you know, create a song and they're like strategizing it so much. They're trying to think about, you know, the formula or, you know, what people will like or whatever. But the purity, you know, again, like that really comes through in your music of how you kind of are just making artistic choices, you know, artistic like selective decisions that are
Yeah.
just from you again of you
Mm.
and
Yeah.
again you really hear it. So I want to play a little sample of that one here too. I'm gonna play like the last, you know, 20 seconds or so of "Call Me Later" and just
Hell yeah.
give people a glimpse of that outro and just that flow there. That's the thing, like it's so simple. You just say the same thing like 4 or 5, 6 times in a row, but it doesn't get old because it just has a certain ring to it, a certain feeling where you could just keep
Yeah.
with no problem. So that's dope.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I especially like that because yeah, especially like for a song "Call Me Later" where it's just really it's chill, almost like a conversational singing, like to finally like break out to that part. It's just the song needed it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, you kind of said everything you needed to be said, and now you're just vibing out. That's dope. Um, but yeah. So next up, next question I have. Well, I got probably two more to close us out here. So outside of, you know, doing shows, obviously you've got a couple, you know, releases now. You've got some songs under your belt. Um, Kind of take us through, you know, looking ahead, what's next. You know, not that there's got to always be a pressure of what's next. It's good to enjoy the moment. Are you sort of, you know, plotting ahead? Do you have different like goals, ambitions, you know, this coming year, or are you kind of just chilling right now?
So I'm kind of going through like a transition right now. So I mean, obviously I'm gonna be putting out more songs, like probably a lot more, but it's gonna come out differently. Like now that like reps is over, like I gave the outro, the training's over. So what basically I'm gonna be doing now is making my own instrumentals and creating, composing entire songs, brick by brick. Just start, get the beat how you want it, the vocals how you want it, and then I have full control on how to actually like do everything rather than getting a beat handed to me or something like that. So, essentially now instead of dropping albums as I make these songs, I am pretty much going to just release single after single after single of songs that I completely made. And it's like a really that'll be like a really important step for me, bro. Cause like that's something I'm really excited about is that freedom to make the song exactly how you want. You're not basing the vocals off of what the beat has already had to offer. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
so the tough thing is all the possibilities, like so many possibilities. You can do anything. You can have like there's 300 instruments on the beat pack that I have right now, and I don't even know where to start with 10 of them. But
Right,
I'm fucking going to, I'm gonna I'm gonna do that.
right.
At some point, it'll be done. So like I already got one under my belt, like Hurry. off reps 2. That was all me. Um, but it's a challenge. That one came out is a little bit more theatrical, like a soundtrack to some movie or something like that, rather than a instrumental that I could put vocals on or do extra stuff with.
Right.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I'm really excited because yeah, the future is just it's gonna be straight up all original stuff. And that's that's the next step, man. As soon as I can do all that and actually make the music around it, then sometime in the future I can employ like actual other talents to where if I have a singing part, I can get uh, a woman to do a beautiful soprano like vocal track rather than me trying to hit a falsetto or something. You know,
Right.
whatever the song demands. So in the future, that's gonna happen.
So it's gonna be like 100% of the Dame, like full scope, full 9 yards. That's what we can expect, like top to
Yeah,
bottom.
pretty much, bro. I'm gonna be like DJ Khaled, who also drops bars.
Right. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Are you gonna have a little like lead in tagline shit too? It's gotta be
Yeah,
it's gotta be the it's gotta be the oh dang
it's just gonna be Byron go, oh dang.
dang.
That's it.
Yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. No, dope, dude. I'm excited to hear that. That's the thing. It's like it's cool to see people evolve, especially again so early on. It's like you go from just writing lyrics, like you said, to YouTube beats, to stepping on the mic, to stepping out on the stage, and now picking up different instruments. And just it's sweet to see how people, how artists, evolve and just kind of develop and expand their repertoire and their abilities. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's in the future for you. And I mean, I can tell even early on you have kind of a natural feel for what you're doing. So it's just cool to think, the ceiling and the potential for what's to come. So I think that, we're all in store for a lot more good music from ODame.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I mean, yeah, it is. I gotta be like picking up I've always been like a writer, storyteller. So like doing that was much easier than picking up these instruments. I mean, half the time I'm fucking banging my head against the wall, trying to get this shit going. But everyone, like, finally, like, just like anything, man. If you got the determination, at some point it's gonna work out. It's just it has to.
Right, right. Yeah, and just
Mhm.
having fun with it. And that's the thing, like you can tell that you have a lot of fun with what you're doing, and that's kind of the key and the thing that keeps pushing you through and driving you through like those stressful times or when you're, having writer's block or producer's block or whatever, is just kind of, vibing with it, going with your intuition, flowing and stuff. And like I said,
Yeah.
you can pick up on that a lot, even just how you deliver on the mic. So I'm sure it'll be the same sort of thing once you're picking up more instruments and doing more on the production side. It's just kind of that free flow, whatever you're feeling in the moment. And definitely
Yeah.
keep doing more of that because it's working for you so far. Um, so kind of going off of what you mentioned with getting more into the production side. Just curious what your process is like on as far as like your setup, and then kind of the step by step of how you go about creating a full production, top to bottom with the music and then the vocals on top of it.
Yeah. So I don't think I have a reliable process yet. Still figuring that out. So that's my process right now, is figuring out my process. But essentially I got a keyboard, I got Pro Tools, and I have a guitar with like an effect pad. So I mean, really with a keyboard you can do a lot of instruments, and then if you know what you're doing with Pro Tools, you can do even more. So like right now, I mean, first off, to start with, I gotta have complete like peace. I can't have voicemails I gotta listen to. I can't have people I gotta call back. I can't have motherfuckers walking around and disturbing me and shit. So I have to like, it
Right.
has to be me in the zone, like preferably with a vibe already in my head. Usually it doesn't happen. So I mean, you just gotta sit there and really just work through the notes, like hit the piano at different cadences, switch it to, I always switch to strings. I love strings, violins and cellos and all that. So switch to something that maybe you go with, and then really I just find the key that I'm playing in and just keep playing those notes. You know, it could start off as something really simple, but you start out with something simple, you build off of that, and then before you know it, you have, you know, drums, guitar, and a piano already layered on top of each other. So like right now, I'm not anything like a musical genius or whatever, where it's like I hear something in my head and I play it. I'm really like working through the nuts and bolts and finding out what works together, and just listening to it. I mean, that's the only way I know how to do it. You just got to keep playing it, listening to it, and then see what works, see what needs changed, and see what needs highlighted or whatever.
Dope, dope,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Well, yeah, that's some good insight, and I appreciate you kind of, you know, taking the time to obviously not just talk about your current releases, but you know, sort of peel back the layers and allow people some insight into how you actually create as well. Because it's that's for me personally, that's like the most fascinating part. Talking to different artists is, you know, how you actually go about it and what inspires you and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll go ahead and close with that. But for real, I appreciate you you know, taking the time here today, you know, sharing yourself with the world and kind of talking through
Mhm.
everything that you've put out so far. Like I said, I'm looking forward to kind of what's to come and everything else. I think that you have a very high ceiling based on, you know, what you've done so far. And for sure, you know, shout out to the album. Everybody, you know, go check out the album, play it through top to bottom. You won't be disappointed. You can head over to ODame's page. I'll tag it in the caption and everything, and you know, stay tuned for more.
All right, sick, Mer. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. And it's coming. More is coming. It's gonna be better,
Cool. All
better
right.
than ever, bro.
Yes, sir. All right. It's good. It's good talking to you, man. All right. Peace out.
For sure. See ya, bro.